Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Monday, the 16th of June. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing, learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right, this is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com and is published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. All right, let's have a look. Now, we've got, when we came down here, the first thing that, when we saw this decline, the first thing I was looking at was where it came to, which was pretty much perfectly to a head and shoulder neckline on both ES and NQ, and a pretty good one on YM, which is already broken down. So watching these with enormous interest. That was looking more bearish when we closed on Friday. We've seen some, I think mainly because Israel's not been having a particularly hard time crushing Iran so far. I think this has been rallying a bit, and we're seeing a corresponding move on oil, but I'm still watching these possible head and shoulder patterns because they are still interesting and they could still deliver. Look at my chart of the day today. We are seeing some signs of weakness on various charts. I showed an hourly chart of Meta showing a very nice looking rising wedge forming from the April low, which broke down on Friday afternoon. So I'm watching for signs of weakness here. All right, RTY didn't have a possible head and shoulders there. We did have an hourly sell signal on IWM, but where we closed on Friday, we had positive divergence on the hourly charts on all of SPX, NDX, and Dia and IWM, and we may well see that play out today. On YM, we had a head and shoulders breakdown. If we get back over this high here, which is about just a shade under 43,000, then this fails, and the obvious next target is a retest of the high. Looking at DAX and STX, I was commenting on the bigger picture webinar yesterday that we've broken below the monthly pivot on both. If this converts to resistance, this is a significant break, and I'll talk more about the daily middle bands when I get to the RTH charts. Okay, ESTX again below the monthly pivot, watching to see if this gets converted to resistance. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Okay, let's have a first look at the daily middle bands. Now we held these in the main on the close on Friday, and that's important because really, if you look at the support level here, it's pretty obvious. The daily middle band is the key support level here for the short-term uptrend. So I'm watching this with enormous interest today, but we went below it, but we held it on Friday, and we closed Friday 6,008. Yeah, I rolled lots of charts this weekend. I rolled ES, NQ, RTY, and YM into September, and I rolled all the oils into August, and I rolled coffee and sugar as well into September and October respectively. But looking at ES here, this is we had the daily middle band at 6,008, and we've got the close on Friday at 6,031. That obviously is looking pretty decent this morning. Hang on 1 second. Sorry, my main charts are looking a little confused at the moment. But we're up at 6,071 at the moment. We will see. So at the moment, that doesn't look directly threatened. On SPX, we did pretty much the same, except we didn't actually reach, because this was just RTH only, we didn't reach the daily middle band. In terms of the, well, let's have a look at the Bollinger Bands first. We came pretty close to the daily middle band, closest we've got actually since the low, and we broke back up. Closest we got to the daily middle band there. On Dia, we had a slight break below at the close, 422.81 against 424.70, and IWM we had, bear with me a moment. All right, we closed at 208.89, which was basically a shade above the daily middle band. But these are make no mistake, these are the key levels. We also had this rising channel on IWM, which we just lost because we broke below. It doesn't mean it's going to follow through to the downside. If it does, the key level would be 199.65, because that is the right shoulder low. Go below that, and this big IHS that I've been watching fails. Now, looking at the hourly charts, we've got a possible weak RSI 14 buy signal brewing on the hourly chart and a possible RSI 5 buy signal brewing. Look at the others. We've got positive divergence, I think, across the board. Looking Here, yeah, possible RSI5 buy signal brewing on the SPX chart, on the Qs, possible RSI5 buy signal brewing, and on Dia, we've got a possible RSI5 buy signal brewing. So I'm wondering about that. I was also having a very close look because there is an opportunity for a fail here. Do we have an okay looking rising wedge from here? Yeah, it's not awesome, but yeah, that's a possible contender because I was weighing up the pattern setup in terms of a possible hard fail here. Looking at SPX, again, it's okay. Not what I'd be hoping for, and wouldn't actually retest the high, but in the event that we see a big turn down here, this isn't a bad looking head and shoulders, and I can certainly build fibs off this. It's on Qs. We've not got a bad resistance trend line, actually, and that has overthrown slightly. It's a bit unusual that we haven't really made it back to the support trend line yet, but we came pretty close on Friday. Looking at Dia, not bad either. So could we see a fail here? Yes. And if we did, I would be wondering whether this would be A, B, C. And if you're thinking that there's no real grounds to get down to the April lows, that's not true. I mean, it's. I think I wasn't expecting to see that yet. But actually, I'm kind of expecting to see that later in the year. There's an awful lot of damage has been done to a big sector of the economy, which is exports. It's been done to tourism, it's been done to students, it's been done to exports of all kinds. And we haven't had the figures for that feed through yet, but actually, when they do arrive, they could be ugly, and yeah, we could be doing that. So I am wondering about that, but I think it's too early to call on that yet. And at the moment, the question is on war. Sometimes, it's all about perception. Sometimes it just turns out to be a nothing burger, and that may be the case here. And certainly Israel doesn't seem to be getting a lot of resistance from Iran at the moment. So this could be a nothing burger. We could still have my bullish window here, but equally, sometimes the market takes it very seriously. And I'll be watching the oil price and I'll be watching equity prices to see which way it's going to go. Because really, that's all about sentiment. All right, great. Let's have a look at the DX chart. Now, DX, we've come back and we retested this low here. And this is a potential very large double bottom. We're at a major inflection point today, and I'm going to do a post today about this, and I'm going to show you what that looks like on the US dollar chart. That looks like, hang on, this. We've got the flag, we came down and tested support, we've come down and tested support again. We've got a potential double bottom here. We've got a possible RSI5 buy signal brewing, possible weak RSI14 buy signal brewing on the weekly. This is the inflection point. This is the two options are we've got a flag here, we break up from this double bottom, and then we've got a shot at going back and because to the obvious flag target, which would be a retest of this high here at 114.78. Equally, if we see a hard break, and particularly if we see a break below this rising megaphone support trend line at 96, then I'm thinking we've got a very possible hard breakdown, and we could find that this is the topping pattern with a target which would be down in the 80 area, down here. Now, if we see a big decline in the dollar, the obvious support area, which has held before, would be in the 70 to 80 area. So that would be in the upper end of that area. But I am wondering about this. If we go back and retest a high, I'd be thinking that would be making the second high of a double top. If we break down directly, well, that cuts through a lot of the crap on the way. I have seen some amazing retests. I'm not seeing much of a reason to see dollar go up a lot here, but I have seen some amazing retests, and I've seen those on the dollar. So I'm keeping an open mind, but this is the inflection point, and I'll be doing a post about that today. All right, looking at ZB, we saw a spike up, this possible extremely ugly IHS, which I'm taking less seriously because it is so ugly. This isn't bad technically though, and this could be breaking up with a target in the 118.24 to 26 area. We've seen a decline from there. If Iran is a nothing burger, then this may just resume the move to the downside. But what I would say is, I was predicting a while ago that the Fed would start buying bonds to defend the 5% level. The Fed, I understand, hasn't started buying bonds, but the Treasury has. Now, obviously, if that is successful, and if they're determined enough, they could push up bonds for a while. I don't think it would last, but I am wondering about possible upside, and we are seeing government intervention here. All right, ZN, not currently seeing anything to suggest this isn't a bear flag, and this could just be a large bear flag on ZB. So we will see. In fact, this IHS neckline could be wedge resistance on a large flag, and this could be a bearish overthrow. So looking at CL, we saw a spike up, and we're now seeing, since I capped the chart, which is going to be on the post today, we're now seeing a double top here, which is trying to break down. Now this has got a target in the 64.5 to 65.5 area, and I'm watching this with enormous interest, because if we get back there, then that is suggesting strongly that this is a nothing burger. This Israel-Iran war, and it's not really going to affect oil prices. That would be unusual for a conflict in the Middle East, but as ever, be prepared for anything. HO, we've got 60-minute sell signal fixed, as we've got on NG. On RBOB, we've got no retest to the high here, so no sell signal, but we're seeing some retracement here in what could be a bull flag. NG, we've broken back over the monthly pivot. I am wondering whether, well, at the moment, it looks like we're forming a triangle, and we've not gone over that. So if we are forming a triangle, then the next obvious target would be up in about the 3.8 area. All right, let's have a look at gold. If it's a nothing burger, that's going to slow down gold a bit, but I think it's on its way back to retest this high. So the all-time high. So we will see how that goes. Short-term 60-minute sell signal is fixed and got most of the way to the target. SI, this looks like a bullish consolidation. On palladium, this looks like a bull flag forming, and it's starting to break up. On platinum, this could be a head and shoulders forming, but it's not a very pretty one. So keeping an open mind. HG has broken below the megaphone support. That could just be expanding the support slightly, or we could start seeing a breakdown. But this does look kind of like a bull flag forming. Not a lot to see on the currencies really. It's pretty much all said by the dollar at the moment. KC, we've come back and retested this low almost. I'd like to see a full retest of this low and see whether or not this will be a double bottom. On sugar, we are continuing to trend down in a tightening falling wedge. I was looking at the target on the big head and shoulders, which has broken down, is actually in the 8 to 9 area. So that is what I'm bearing in mind, and that being in the background doesn't make sugar a very attractive long at the moment. On CC, we've had a flag breakdown, and I'm expecting to see a retest of this low. Cotton, this actually is not a bad looking inverted head and shoulders, so I'm watching that, but this has been moving like treacle or molasses lately. Lumber, leaning towards a flag forming here. Possible targets a bit higher here, up in about the 6.3, 6.75 area. On wheat, trying to break down from this double bottom, possible target any retest of the lows. On corn, IHS trying to break up here. I haven't drawn in the lines here, but the target would be in about the 460 to 465 area. That could be part of a larger double bottom. Soy has broken up obviously from a flag. I'm looking for a retest this high, and we haven't quite seen it yet. I've gotten that in about the 108.2 to 3 area. On soybean oil, we spiked up, and we have made it to a retest this high. We've got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing. Might need some retracement. Live cattle breaking down from the rising wedge. Lean hogs maybe overthrowing bearishly the rising wedge. So watching both of those. Okay, let's have a quick look at questions. Yep. Okay, no questions. I'm watching this very carefully, and I think the head and shoulders still has a shot of making out, but if the Iran news is a nothing burger, we could just go pretty much straight back onto the bull scenario that I was talking about. However, I would like to warn that the problem with the bull scenario that I've been looking at to take this higher into higher highs is it's got nothing fundamental. supporting it. Absolutely nothing. What it's got is a period of phony war where the horrible truth has not yet sunk in. Bear that in mind. This could be derailed. I still really like it. But it wouldn't take an awful lot to knock it off. We shall see. All right, great. In that case, that's a wrap. I will catch you guys tomorrow morning. Cheers.